And top of our minds for the past couple of weeks is budget 2022. We've all been wondering what 2022 is going to cost us, how salaries are going to be paid, how much more tax we're going to have to cough out, the kind of projects that we will see, the kind of infrastructure that will go up, the kind of revenue generation we'll be able to achieve, whether corruption will be tapped or not. There's so many questions when we talk about the budget. But I think top of our minds this morning is there even a budget at all? Yeah, we're still on that. And joining me this morning is Edward Bawa, MP for Bongo, and Vincent Eko Asefa, MP for Old Trafford. Now, I feel like we're practically like siblings now, because we've had so many conversations since the budget came out. But let me start with you, Vincent. Yesterday, Hassan Suhini was here with me in the studio, and he talked about the fact that first Friday, when the minority went into Parliament and rejected the budget, that still stands. They don't recognize the fact that the budget was approved by the majority all by themselves. And yes, there have been some modifications. Yes, they've agreed to that. But they actually do not accept that the budget has been approved. What would you say with that? Because I think at the very start of the conversation, you know, is there a budget or isn't there a budget?
Well, let me say a very good morning to you, my senior colleague, Edward Barr. Let me use just about 10 seconds to wish the former President of the Republic, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, a very big happy birthday.
Yeah,
the PLS John Agyekum Kufuor, one of the finest gentlemen that this Fourth Republic has ever produced. And I know that whatever he eats, he will be proud of the kind of contribution that he gave to the Republic of Ghana. So let me wish him a very happy birthday. But let me come to your question. Yesterday, I got to the chamber. The first thing that I did was to go to my pigeonhole and picked up my document. Now, when I picked the votes and proceedings, which could simply be termed as the minutes of proceedings before Tuesday, that was on Friday, I saw with shock.
Shock?
Yes, the votes and proceedings on that Friday, which clearly suggested that on that Friday, nothing ever happened on the floor of the House. What that meant was that there was no recordings as to whatever transpired, i.e. the motion that was raised or filed by the minority leader, which the Speaker of Parliament also ruled. I didn't find any information to that effect. Only for us to be told by the minority that whatever transpired was null, it was void. I actually don't know the kind of discussion that went between the minority and the table office, or if you like, the Speaker of Parliament, for such an information to have been missing in the votes and proceedings, because I was present in that house that Friday, and I remember that. And in fact, you saw it on TV that Haruna Idrisu filed a motion. The House debated it from both sides of the aisle. And so if that was missing, I don't know how that happened. But having said that, when my brother Haruna Idrisu says that the budget...
But before you move on, what does that mean that it's missing? Like,
well, when you check the votes and proceedings, and Honorable Bawa will agree, the votes and proceedings, the votes and proceedings, it's the minutes of the House on Friday. So I'm saying that he will agree to the effect that when you see the votes and proceedings, it carries whatever transpired.
Yeah, that's true.
Before that very day.
And nothing.
And I'm saying that nothing of the sort was seen in the votes and proceedings when I saw the votes and proceedings.
Does that happen sometimes?
That is surprising. That is why I'm saying that in the minds of the minority and the kind of comments that were raised on the floor of the House, clearly they felt that nothing of the sort happened. And for that matter, the Speaker of Parliament also never ruled on any matter. It is.
Is that saying that the minority are the ones who asked for Friday to be not recorded?
Well, normally it is the duty of the table office to do that. The minority does not have any say as to what is recorded and what is not recorded.
So why wasn't it recorded?
Well, that's why I'm saying that I saw that with shock. I don't know if my brother will want to respond to that, but I saw that with shock, that there was nothing, absolutely nothing in the votes and proceedings.
Sorry about that. I'm a bit confused. The motion was on I think on Wednesday. The motion of the one Haruna moved was on Wednesday. It was captured. Indeed, if you look at page 9 of Thursday votes and proceedings, it was captured, where they talked about Haruna moving a motion, Yarga seconding, Mr. Speaker allowing debates to go on. The challenge was usually after the debates have been done, there's always the fact that Mr. Speaker has to put the question. And Mr. Speaker rather did not put the question and made an attempt to rule. And that's how Mutaka, the chief whip for the minority group, got up to draw Mr. Speaker's attention to the fact that, hey, you need to put the question for voting. And Mr. Speaker, okay, so there, if you look at the voting proceedings, they recorded that Mr. Speaker never ruled. And that because of the chaos that erupted, it was not. So if you look at yesterday, Mr. Speaker sought to indicate that he actually ruled in the midst of the chaos. Yeah. And then even used his gavel to gavel. So it meant that he had ruled on that. Haruna disagreed with him, but of course that's what he said. And that's why if you monitor the news yesterday, per our standing orders, when Mr. Speaker rules and you want to challenge his ruling, you come via a substantive motion, 93.5, to challenge his motion. And it is within the right of Mr. Speaker to either admit the motion or otherwise. But our Constitution also enjoins all persons who have the power to exercise discretion to do that in an impartial manner, in a very fair manner, and not capricious. And so we expect that, being guided by the Constitution, and he would look at the motion, because the motion simply says that we think that he's contravened the rules of the House, and the rules of the House are basically the orders, the standing orders, and the Constitution. They are the two that govern our activities in the House. So basically, that was what. So if you on Friday basically was a holiday, a public holiday, and therefore we couldn't have had a Friday recording on this because no certain happened. But you see,
no, but I think that we are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
The distinction that I sought to draw was that as to whether whatever happened has a legal effect is one issue. And as to whether it indeed happened is also another issue. I am saying that because in the House that day, a motion was filed, the Speaker ruled. As to the legality of it is not an issue. But my point is that because it failed to reflect in the votes and proceedings.
No, it did. And
it didn't.
With your permission.
It didn't.
So page 9. So page 9 indicates.
Page 9
of the voting proceedings of Thursday indicates that motion, and that was Haruna's motion, that was captured at the votes and proceedings, that this Honorable House rescinds the decision it took on the budget statement economic policy of government for the year ending 31st December 2022 on Tuesday, 30th November 2021, moved by the Honorable Minority Leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, and seconded by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Boko Central, Mr. Mahama Yarga. Question proposed. You know, normally they record it as so question proposed, debate arising, debate concluded. So they put it that way. Then they said the Honorable First Deputy Speaker sought to give a ruling, which was interrupted following an uproar in the chamber. So it is this sentence that, Mr. Speaker, because this is what...
No, but you and I were in the chamber. It's not a new word. You know that the House ruled, the Speaker of Parliament ruled...
I disagree with that, but that is why we are challenging that. But in any
absolutely.
Case, you see, the issue is that... let me first, you need to ask yourself, who records this?
It is a table office.
It is recorded by the table office. Yes. And the table office, they are usually all seated there. You understand what I'm making? So it is not recorded by the minority. It's not recorded by the majority. It's like, as we sit here, you are an independent person just asking questions for answers.
So according to this, the Speaker didn't rule.
Didn't rule.
Therefore, the budget still stands as rejected.
You see,
or is that too short?
You know something. I want to make a submission here, and I think that we are shortchanging Ghanaians when we concentrate so much on as to whether the budget has been rejected or has not been rejected. And I'll explain to you why. The fact that on Tuesday, the majority...
Tuesday as in yesterday?
Tuesday Tuesday as in last week.
Tuesday, okay.
When the majority group came to Parliament and moved a motion to rescind a decision that was taken the week earlier, that was on Friday. By itself indicates that there was an acknowledgement of the fact that there was something that was, a budget was rejected. That's why you want to rescind the decision. You understand my point? The fact that on Wednesday we came to rescind a decision of Tuesday, 30th November, that was made primarily by the majority group and the First Deputy Speaker, indicates that there was yet another budget that was approved. I know what I'm making sense.
Yeah.
So this is where we are. And of course, there was yet an attempt to reverse that decision. And so for me, that is where we are now in terms of the fact that we have a particular challenge in terms of the procedure in trying to reverse the 30th November, decision that was taken by Parliament. That being said, let's go back to what actually affects you and me and the viewer who's watching. Why is Parliament at this stage? What are the issues that are making us now get ourselves entangled in the legalities and the orders and what have you? It has to do with 5 major things that are equally important.
Okay, before you get to these 5 major things, the reason why it's important for us as Ghanaians to understand whether the budget has been approved or rejected is because of negotiation. If it's been accepted, then we know that, okay, this is where we are now, is going to go to, I think it's appropriations and things like that, committee level and all of that. Yes. If it's been rejected, then it means that we're expecting another one. And of course, that then, begets the question, is it going to be done before Christmas? How is it going to affect payroll in January? So it would be nice if we could just clarify it.
So let me make a point.
Okay, before you make that point, can you answer the question for me? The budget 2022, which we spent the whole day covering and listening to and reading pages and pages of things we didn't understand. Has it been approved or has it been rejected at the moment?
At the moment?
Yes.
I think my last explanation would have...
No, but I want, is that simply...
Yes or no?
As we speak today, my very honest opinion.
No, I don't want opinion.
No.
We want the facts.
Because a question of what I will see as a fact, he may look at it as an opinion. What he sees as an opinion, I'll look at it as.
But water is water. That's
but the point I'm just trying to make is on the 30th of November, Parliament, through the majority group, indicated that it had been approved. and that's the point I'm just making, that the fact that we attempted to rescind that decision means that we had acknowledged that it has been approved.
So it's been approved.
So as you speak today, as it stands now, that is what it is.
Yes.
That's what
it's been approved.
Yes, it was rejected.
Okay.
It was approved. So that's the point I'm just trying to make.
Okay.
It's just that as we speak now, the current budget that was approved is not the same budget that was rejected in the last.
Okay, there have been the 7.
Because of the fact that after that rejection, so it must be on record that in the first time in the Republic of the Fourth Republican Constitution, there was a budget was rejected.
Okay.
It must be made.
Okay.
The budget that was approved on Tuesday was a new budget, because remember, and yesterday we were trying to say as to whether the Minister of Finance should relay that, or they were just going to add as an addendum.
Because he wrote to the Speaker.
But if he wrote even to the Speaker, it was not enough. But Mr. Speaker drew the attention of the House that they were approving the budget subject to some concessions that he was going to make.
And these are the 7 ones.
And the 7. So currently, the document we have is not the same document that was presented on November 17th.
Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing, but with the 7 added.
No, it's not pretty much. The point. Yes.
So it's a new budget.
So it's a new budget.
Okay.
So it's a new budget. So the budget that was presented in November was rejected.
Okay. So
the
if
budget
it's a new budget.
Yes.
And the minority keep on saying we are not accepting the E-levy, the E-levy, the E-levy.
Yes.
In the budget that has been approved with their modifications.
Yes.
The E-levy still stands at 1.75.
Yes, but you see the interesting part.
Did you say yes?
Yes to what?
Yes, the E-levy still stands at 1.75.
That's what the minister said.
In the approved.
That's what the minister said.
So you've approved the budget with the 1.75.
No, unfortunately, that is not how Parliament works. So this is just basically the principles and policy underpinning the budget, which is just about 5% of the total exercise. Now, the E-levy would have to go to the committee level. It will be looked at. Remember that all levies and taxes are backed by a law. Now, there will be a bill that will be brought. Every sentence will be scrutinized and voted on, including the rate. So, for example, assuming that it comes and they say the rate in that bill indicates that it is 1.75, and the minority says, no, we want the rate to be 0.00, it becomes an issue of which one gets the day. And therefore, that can be voted on, and it will be voted on.
The President has directed that all ministers of state, ministers, deputy ministers, nobody should travel.
Yes.
Nobody should go anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've done this and gone back and forth and gone back and forth. And now the Speaker of Parliament is about to come back, Mr. Alban Bagbin. I think we're expecting him next week. We've managed to somehow, I don't want to say waste time. We've used the time. So now he's coming back. So let's say he comes back next week, right? And then we have to vote again. Okay, 137, one extra person here, so 138, 137. Speaker is present, everybody can vote. At this point, then, have you not lost the power to negotiate? Because, forgive me if I'm wrong, this is just a simple, because once Alban Bagbin comes back, a lot of the nuances of who can vote.
Can I ask you a question?
No, don't ask me a question. I'm not a parliamentarian. I'm just asking you.
No, it was a very simple question. Based on what? Don't ask me. Based on what you are just saying.
I'm just
was the scenario not the same in January 6th?
It wasn't, because the majority were not present.
No, I said January 6th.
Okay, January, yeah. When
was the scenario
on people and
pulling chairs, so January 6th was the scenario not the same?
We don't want to think about that.
No, you know why I'm saying the scenario? Because you are talking about numbers. You are talking about
numbers game.
Yes, you are talking about 138 to 137. On January 6th, we had an independent arbiter, and that was the Clerk of Parliament, who superintended over
we've
an
done
election.
Those negotiations. We've understood each other. We've gotten the speaker and all of that.
No, the point, you didn't do negotiation. You voted.
Okay,
so don't say.
Do you still have the power? I think the question. Will you still have the power to negotiate?
Listen to me. It's not about who prevails in the course of voting. I said here the last time I came here, I said, Parliament is a representative of the people. Executive is the representative of the state. For us, all we are doing is mirroring the concerns of Ghanaians.
Yeah.
So if in our attempt to do that, we do it and we don't even succeed, at least we've identified with the pain and hardships of Ghanaians. So it's not about who prevails. So as to whether Mr. Speaker comes and 138, 137, it's neither here nor there. If our belief is that the introduction of the E-levy, the lack of allocation for the tidal wave victims, the fact that benchmark revenues are being reversed, the fact that the ACARE in this form is inimical to Ghanaians, the fact that JAPA should be withdrawn, if these factors still remain there, and these factors are really resisted by the Ghanaian people, and we articulate that properly at the National Assembly, and we even lose, at least would have been doing what Ghanaians sent us to Parliament to do.
That's very interesting. You know, we spent so much talking about the E-levy, so I'll come back to that in a second. But let me ask you about EJAPA, because EJAPA.
But before you go to EJAPA, he said something very profound.
Okay.
He said that at the level of the committees, after the principles and the policy of the budget itself has been approved, the committees are now mandated to discuss the estimates, or if you like, the details of the budget. And he said that if the 1.75% that has been proposed to Parliament is one that at the level of the committee that is made up of the majority and the minority decides that, oh, why don't we do it 0.00%? If we knew that that could be done, why all this drama in Parliament?
Yeah.
You remember I came to this studio and told you that we are just approving the policy and the principles and for that matter, we are now going to the committee level to do the proper estimate. The drama from the minority at the time was not necessary.
Oh,
but now,
I think in a way it was.
No, I'm just saying that if we knew that at that level, doing the estimate where we are supposed to discuss at the committee level, all these things can be done.
I mean, all things being fair, if all members of the majority were present in Parliament and this is how the minority felt, the rejection could have stood.
I saw a certain video, I don't know whether you saw it, when Harry Naidrisu made some concessions that he has now agreed to a reduced percentage, was about 1.5%.
There was a statement issued.
He's saying that. So the flip-flop on the side of the minority, especially.
That's flip-flop. Why? Isn't it?
Well, if you say that, now you have agreed to take 1.5%. Now later comes to the floor and says that we are not doing anything less than anything that is less than 0.0%. What it means is that you initially said that 1.5% you are okay with it, but now you are saying that anything that is 1.5%, you are not going to take it. So the appropriation, you cannot appropriate and reprobate.
First and foremost,
what did he say?
Quoting him wrongly.
What did he say?
And I'll tell you. But let me first indicate that when you say that, what we're doing, if we knew that we're going to go to the committee levels to make an assessment
on the matter of the E-levy.
One thing you should realize that the brouhaha that happened in Parliament necessitated the concessions. It's just that we've not gotten it all.
That's okay.
I don't know what
I have still done it at the committee.
So you cannot for a moment indicate that what we were doing did not amount to anything.
Because if we're going to do everything at the policy, then there's no
the point in bringing it. So that's the first point.
You need to agree to the policy statement. The budget was a huge document.
They didn't agree to the policy statement.
You see, the issue is
because of E-levy.
I see
one or two aspects of the whole budget that was brought to the House. You are saying that because of that we should just reject the whole budget. Are you saying that the amount of money that we are pumping into the free SHS is not necessary? Are you saying that one district, one factory that we are putting there, it is not necessary? All the things that we are doing in the budget, are you saying all of them are not necessary just because you don't agree to the E-levy?
There wasn't just E-levy, there was a
assuming
Japan,
they were
there was
10.
ACA, there was...
Assuming they were 10, we had over 800 paragraphs
so
in the budget.
Look, you see, the point we just made was that, you see, we had a whole budget that had all other sectors. But there were these 5 issues that had come up. And we said that these 5 issues should be looked at. You sit there and say, just E-levy. E-levy is not just. From your own estimation, you are anticipating that all things being equal, you are generating as much as 6.9 billion Ghana cedis from the E-levy. That is your projection in the budget. This has a telling effect on the estimates. This has a telling effect on allocations to ministries, departments, and agencies. So you do not just look at it, the fact that, oh, these things could have been done there, so we don't do. Because it has a telling effect. Because you're talking about 6.9 billion.
You sat in this studio and made
that's the first point.
It could be done at the committee level.
The fact that we have not succeeded at the level of the principle and policy to do that doesn't mean that we give up. Doesn't mean that we give up. We look at what are the other tools available to us to ensure that what Ghanaians are saying no to, we're able to achieve that.
Okay, can
and
I
one
ask
of
a
them
question?
is
at the committee level. I mean, just educate us a little bit. I mean, some of us have never really been, to Parliament or are very, comfortable with the process. At the committee level, what are the numbers like? So
committee level,
it depends on the committee.
Basically, there are 2 things, and that's even one of the reasons. Some people were even asking if you are not interested in the principle, why are you going for the estimate? When you at the committee level, you do an assessment of expenditure for the the previous year. So in this case, we'll be looking at how the monies were expended in the first 9 months of 2021. Then, on the strength of that, we will then look at allocations that the ministry has done, whether those allocations are appropriate, even if you do them. For example, let me give you a typical example of something that will come up. Something that definitely will come up is that even before we even approve the E-levy, the issue of almost 242 million Ghana cedis to be used for what they call E-levy services will have to be scrutinized. So the finance minister would have to detail how these monies are going to be expended.
And why it's necessary.
You understand? So at the committee level, these things will be done.
Okay.
So it is when all the ministries, the various sectors, all the committees will work on those ones. They will aggregate that. So they will aggregate that into what we call the appropriation. So the appropriation will then say, Ministry of Education is taking X, Ministry of this is taking Y. So they put all those expenditures in the appropriation. And they give a threshold. So they tell you that you cannot spend beyond X for this fiscal year. So that then becomes the appropriation and it is put in the form of a bill. Now, the revenue sources, if there are new revenue sources that are coming, assuming that E-levy goes through, it will have to be backed by a law. So then the law will be made on that to support it in terms of the revenue. But those revenues that are already in existence, they become just legitimate because they have already been passed.
Okay.
So basically,
the heart of the question I'm asking is about expectations. Because the average Ghanaian will sit down and listen to us go back and forth and expect that, okay, maybe, at this stage, the E-levy 1.75, okay. The question that I really want you to answer is that realistically, numbers-wise, once it goes past this stage, is there enough power in dissent for that number to come down, or are we fighting a losing battle? There's a saying in Ghana, I mean it's translated in English, like a knock that is yours. The earlier you collect it, the better. So I think that's the heart of the question. The 1.75%, that's right now is 1.75%. Is there anywhere in the process where like sustainably, like yes, this number can come down? Or are we fighting and losing?
Can I tell you the
just told you
truth?
that it's possible.
There are two things.
It's possible, but by what percentage?
No, yes, but there are two things.
The heartbreak that is coming.
I am hoping
can we prepare ourselves?
I am hoping that the Minister of Finance, in his press encounter, had indicated that the E-levy was still subject to negotiation. You remember he said that?
I believe he's being nice.
Yeah, he's being nice, and I agree with you.
Because
too.
if he really wanted to,
he would have done something.
Exactly.
I agree with you on that.
So,
but you see, we will do our best, and I'm convinced that when the time comes, you will see what will happen.
This one there sounds like some boy that's rapping you, you know.
Charlie, and that's all I can do for now. That's all I can do for now is to give you hope and to also believe that.
The Bible says hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Yes, but unfortunately,
our hearts are sick. We are broke already.
But if you do not know, and Victor Franklin also says, if you live a life without hope, the challenge is that you may not even live long.
I believe the Bible.
So you see. But you see, the point I'm just trying to make is that I just want to believe that the 137 plus the one independent that the NPP has, that there may be one or two people who represent constituencies who know that the E-levy will be detrimental to their finances, will be detrimental to their businesses, will be detrimental even to their medical bills. But assuming that you have a child, son or daughter who is sending you money, and that on the strength of that will vote their conscience rather than voting what their party and government wants to do. I tell you.
This hope is very, very, very.
What can I say apart from that?
Yeah.
What can I say apart from that? But I will tell you, and I can assure you, that for the minority, which I belong to, because I caucus with the minority, that I can assure you that we will fight to the point where it is no longer possible to fight.
Okay. That's a good assurance. So let me ask you, so you people too, you can see that the E-levy thing, like Ghanaians are, so what is the, why would you just reduce this for us?
Why do you think it's a problem if you charge with the E-levy?
Why do I think?
Yes, I mean, let's educate the people of Ghana.
Why 1.75% on every transaction of 100 cedis?
You see, that's where you get wrong. When you say every transaction, what transaction
over
are you talking about?
Of e-transactions.
Merchants who are supposed to be doing their businesses are not going to be charged anything.
Yes, but people who are trying to send money.
It is when I am sending you money.
Yes.
Okay, that is when you are supposed to be charged.
So, for example, let me give you a typical example.
I'm just saying.
No, you've asked me a question. Let me answer. The lady who comes home to wash for me.
Yes.
She has 6 children.
Yes.
Her husband died about 12 years ago, and she's been raising these 6 children by herself.
Yes.
Some of them are in school, SSS, some of them are in the villages, and she has to send them money sometimes. She can't hear the money that she's holding is not enough.
Yes.
She can't put the money on a VIP or on a trotro to take it to somewhere. So she has to send it by
Let's educate the people of Ghana. What is a tax system?
No, we're not doing a tax system. We're not doing
I'll tell you what a tax system is.
We're not doing it.
No, I'm coming. So a tax system. A tax system.
Now I'm being bullied.
Taxes.
Can you be fully?
No. But you know what?
Every time you come here, you are taxing yourself.
You know why?
No.
Tax is
you've had your time to
income,
so let me
and on profits. Oh, this E-levy is not on incomes and it's not on profits.
Senior, can I finish?
Yes.
It's on capital.
Yes.
The money that I have in my pocket.
You talked about a young woman who comes to your house to work. What is that young woman earning? She's
earning less than what she should be earning to survive.
How do we term it?
Income.
Absolutely.
So if I go
hold on. The young woman is earning income. You just sat in this studio that we tax income.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you.
So I'm saying that it is the quantum of the money that we are charging that young lady that is important. I believe that the poor is supposed to pay tax, the rich is supposed to pay tax, but there is a certain kind of tax system that assumes taking more from the rich. So you cannot say that. So hold on. For me, it is not proper to say that because this person is poor, that person is not supposed to be paying taxes. Let's be engaging in the quantum.
But if you are using this, then why aren't we taxing, for example, foreign investors, people who are coming?
A teacher, Senior, you had your time. You let me finish. You had your time.
You are playing victim.
A teacher who is earning about 1,400, 1,200 cedis a month is charged about 20%, okay, on his salary, you are telling me that the woman selling Kofi Brookman, who probably earns more than 1,000, 4,500 cedis a month,
wow,
is not having
so.
any way, of course, go to East Legon, those who sell Kofi Brookman.
One is 2 cedis.
Absolutely. One day, that person is making more than 500 Ghana cedis.
That's the capital.
And you are saying that, no, that's not the capital. The profit on her capital is what I'm talking about. Because when you are selling there, obviously you are making profit. So my point is that that woman who sells Kofi Brookman there, the business that she is doing, are we saying that we should not tax such a person? So the point I'm making is that we've grown to a point whereby we need to make sure that our tax system is equitable. A system whereby the rich man pays, the poor woman pays.
The same?
But not the same. How is it the same? How is it the same?
1.75% on transactions.
But
he's reduced e-transactions just to the issue of incomes. You say, for example, assuming that I have a mom who is sick in the house, I am unable to get there, and I'm sending her 300 Ghana cedis. It has to be taxed.
It's a transaction. When you go to China, when you go to China, go
transaction. What about transaction?
They have what we call WeChat.
I don't think we should in any way compare ourselves to China, who makes loans available for their.
Assuming that I go to a restaurant with you. Assuming that I go to a restaurant with you. After they have brought
a lot of examples.
Because I'm giving you that. You say after 2 of us have eaten, we would have been charged VAT and other things. You choose to pay cash. I choose to pay by. And
you are penalized.
And I'm penalized for using a digital platform.
In an economy that that
is the details of the work. We need to find a way so that some of these examples that you are trying to let us believe, because that is not trying to let you. That's what is going to happen. No, hold on. That is not the only thing that is going to happen. Okay. I'm just saying that there are other transactions that genuinely are supposed to be taxed. So the ones that are going to be the fallout of the policy, it is you and I who is clothed with that responsibility, that at the committee level we should be able to raise some of these concerns. But I am interested in the principle and the policy itself, that we need to have a tax system that everybody is paying. Because the rules that we use, you and I use it. That woman that we are talking about uses it. The woman who comes to your house to also come and work uses that rule. So it is not about a teacher or a parliamentarian or anyone who works with Joy FM who are supposed to be the ones always paying the taxes, living in a certain bracket which is supposed to be huge out of the system. So it is in the estimation of the government that the Momo platform or the e-transaction platform is one that is putting a lot of people in the tax bracket, whereby we will be able to access some of the incomes and profits that you and I probably would be very difficult for us to see.
Examples of other African countries who attempted introducing E-levy.
Well, you have to educate me on that.
If you take Uganda, just there from May till September, in terms of digital transactions, went down by 24%. And the reason was because when people got to realize that this was the case, and this was even at a time when they had put it at 1%. Because people felt that they were going to be taxed, all they did was that they were carrying cash around. So that was it. Until they finally took it off. Tanzania, same. Indeed, even if you take Malawi, it became so bad that finally the government itself brought a bill to withdraw it. I'm just trying to tell you that all the examples they've given in Africa, they've all not succeeded. And actually it has discouraged, because most economies in Africa are moving towards cashless economies. That is why, for example, in the UK,
tax it too soon.
That's why in the UK, when I'm working, I'm not scared that somebody will come and hold me and say, bring your money. Because I have a card that I can use. Then you have a situation where now, after you have had a champion, a face, not less a person than the vice president, talking about digitalization, talking about we moving in that direction, just because you've just seen in that stream of transactions, there's some huge money that is lying down there. Let me go in for it. And I always like the example. of what they call it, Mahama Yarga, when he indicates that Somebody who's moving from Boku to Accra, he keeps his money, and he's always scared that on the way the armed robbers will take it. Now he decides to do it electronically, and government is on the way ready to do on the same thing. So you see that,
but that's not a good example.
You see, look, I'm serious. I'm serious.
No, it's not a good example.
Why is it the reason? It is for you to.
Let's give you so that you give us a better
it's not a good example.
Okay.
If for example, I live in Community 18. Now I'm supposed to send about 5,000 cedis to Kumasi because I'm supposed to be charged 1.75%. I decide to probably jump into a VIP station, VIP bus, and go to Kumasi and send the money. Because you're going to be charged 1.75%. Is that the kind of argument we are trying to make here?
I'm just saying I'll look for somebody who's going to Kumasi, I'll give it to them, go and give it out.
That's not possible. So that is riskier. That is riskier.
But that's what we used to do.
But I'm just saying that is riskier. That is riskier. Because if you are going to give your money to somebody who is going to Kumasi and say, take my money and send it to Kumasi for me, when you could just transact to the person straight, without any stories that could be found by the person that, oh, I used the money for this or something happened to the money.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever wanted something delivered or ordered something and the person on the other side has told you that if you don't add the charges, the 2 CDs or the 3 CDs on top of the money that you are sending, the thing that you are buying, they will send it to you. Even though their profit is like 30 CDs. So do you understand how the Ghanaian is like...
Home. Not that I owe anybody. I send the money home. My family member, I won't mention the person's name, but told me that no one for charges nanka. As if so the neka.
That is a reality of this.
Hold on. That is on a lighter note. But I'm just saying that because of that 1.75% charge, how do you expect me that I should be in the bus or I should jump into the plane and send the money?
That's not the only way.
That is riskier.
But sometimes you know how
that is going to be riskier.
I think it's also, if we're really going to have this concern, we had a lot of time. I think it's also a matter of trust. It's a matter of, you're extracting more money from us. And yet last year, the Auditor General told us, please let me make the point. The Auditor General made reports said that we had lost, I think, 12 billion cedis in corruption. And now you're collecting more money from us. And then, we're seeing this and we're seeing that.
If you don't add, can I finish? The person who told you that if you don't add the charges, it means that person is not going to deliver the thing to you. Would you prefer that if you are working here in Joy FM and you've ordered the thing at maybe Accra Mall, you have to jump into an Uber and go to Accra Mall? How much will you be paying for Uber? Even if it's 20 or 30 cedis from here to Accra Mall, to and back, to and fro, it's about 50. No, it makes sense. You are giving me that example.
But you know why she was saying something that was important.
But the time that you are going to waste, the risk involved, because from here to Accra Mall, you may probably even involve yourself in an accident. So I don't want us to make that argument.
My brother.
What I'm interested in is that we are building a nation.
So
when you are building a nation, of course,
we
are building a nation.
So much corruption.
You know something.
We are building,
you know something.
That is a subject.
We can't. In the finance minister's when he came, you see, this whole idea of E-levy is about availability of resources for development.
Yes.
That's what you have been making.
Yes.
The finance minister, throughout his interaction with the public, whether through parliament or through the media, has never indicated anywhere how we are going to cut down waste, how we are going to reduce corruption. How, for example, CDD's research that indicated that for a year,
I was not part of the 7th and 6th Parliament. But you know the number of acts that have been passed by your 7th Parliament, which I was not part of it, to be able to deal with corruption. Why don't you say that?
So my director tells me that we've run out of time. I'm sure that we'll have this conversation in the course of the week, because I also really want to ask you about Ejapa, how that was, slipped in there and then slipped out. Again, we've been so focused on the
informational purposes. There was no fiscal effect to the two paragraphs that we put in there. There was no fiscal effect.
Thank you to Edward Bauer, MP for Bongo, and Vincent Ekwasefa, MP for Old Trafford. My guests this morning, I'm sure they will be back, because this conversation, I don't know when we're going to be done with it. Well, I guess until everything is approved. And we've done it for 2 weeks now. 2 weeks. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best as you continue to fight for the average. Ghanaian. Okay, so we're going to move on. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking about Changes, which is a weekly late afternoon lifestyle show. It's starting on Joy Prime, focuses on social issues, health, fashion, arts, and many other human interest issues. After the break, we'll tell you what to look forward to when Changes hits your screen. Don't go anywhere.